Oof. Flies are nasty today. All right. Oop, what's up, buddy? Whoop, 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 whoop. All right, so I'm about to work on a new horse named Bucky. But the flies are really bad here today, so I'm just gonna grab some fly spray. Jose, good morning. Or Josie. God, I always can't figure out if that's Josie or Jose. I'm gonna say it's Jose, unless you tell me otherwise. Borrow some of this fly spray here. All right, so Bucky is a 24-year-old gelding. He's dealing with some hind-end soreness, and he's never been adjusted before, so, and, oh, how did I do that? Uh-oh, help, guys. How did I do that? How do I get that out of here? Let's see, green screen. There we go. Whew. All right, so this is Bucky right here. This is Bucky. You can see the flies love him, so we're gonna get him sprayed down. Serial killer, hello. Welcome back. All right. Thank you for hopping over to YouTube. There we go. Just got done doing another live with Gravy Train on TikTok. I think TikTok's just going to be kind of like it's going to be a subscriber generator for YouTube for me from now on, hopefully. Because I'm kind of tired of posting so much on TikTok and, you know, and seeing how they don't reward their creators over there anymore. Like you just get less and less and less from TikTok. But I also see a lot of complaints on TikTok about like people being stuck at 200 views or 400 views or whatever. I've never had that problem. But one of the problems I do have over there is you just never know like what videos are going to be successful and what videos are not going to be successful. You can post the same dang content and it goes crazy. You can post another video that's very similar and it does nothing. A little frustrating, but I love YouTube. YouTube treats our creators so much better. So if you are on TikTok, thank you for subscribing over there, and thank you for joining me here as well. And let's get started with Bucky. Hello, Blue. Yeah, it is. It is an awesome platform for sure. I mean, I only started posting videos, I think about 2 years ago. Woo! So that is low back pain right there. Did you guys see him drop right there? So watch, I'm just applying nice, gentle pressure. Just kind of squeezing my thumb and index finger together like this, just to see if there's any reaction to pressure. That should feel good, right? This should feel good to him. This is kind of like a nice, gentle massage. If it doesn't feel good, you can see right there he's dropping. And that shouldn't happen. He should be nice and supple, nice and soft all the way down his back. And if you can see, I'll bring you a little bit closer so you can see this. Oh, he's gonna be such a good boy. Look at, he's just awesome. So if I bring the camera down here, look at that big mark right there, that big rub spot from the saddle pad. Like that's a big area where the hair is getting rubbed off right there. And then if I go over to the other side, you can see we've got the same thing. Not quite as bad, right? If I show you this way, it's not quite as pronounced on the left side as it is on the right, but you can also see the one on the right side is much lower than the one on the left. So we definitely have an issue with the saddle and or the saddle pad. So I want to see which one causes more discomfort. Oof, look at that. You see him drop there? And I'm just using the pads of my fingers. I'm not using the tips or the fingernail. Hey, Natalie.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
So if I just use the pads and I'm running my fingers down like this and he drops like that, I've got some back soreness. I mean, that's clear as day, right? And I'm gonna check the other side as well, which I've already done, but I want you guys to see. Look, he's already getting squirrely as I get close to that. And again, I'm just really using the weight of my forearm. I'm not pushing down. I'm just kind of resting the weight of my whole upper or my whole lower arm right here, and I'm contacting with the pads of my fingers, not like the tips. So if I do that, he's going to drop anyway. So to get a good read, I just want to use the pads and just go down nice and slow. And you can see he's just moving away from that pressure. And as I get close, he starts to drop. So definitely have some low back tenderness there. Right off the bat, I think it's because of the saddle and the saddle pad. So I'll recommend that he gets a nice saddle fit. But that's just my initial thoughts. I still have to check everything else. You know, you get a lot of back soreness from hock soreness. So if his hocks are sore, that could be what's causing the back soreness as well. But those big rub marks from the saddle pad are a pretty dead giveaway about what's going on. Oh, thank you. I think maybe that's Jamie, JME. Hope you're doing okay with the MS. But there's definitely plenty of older horses. I mean, he's 24, but there's plenty of older horses that would be gentle enough for you to love on and even ride a little bit. Laughing disco. Thank you, serial killer. Appreciate it. Okay, so we know he's sore in extension. So he's sore and tight here, and he's really tight through here. You can't really see it because he's not flinching a whole lot, just a little bit right there. But just the palpation, this is really, really tight on both sides. And it feels worse on his right side, so over here, than it does on this side. So here's the right side. You can see those twitching, all that twitching that's going on here versus the left side. All right, so left side's not the bad side. Right side is definitely the bad side. And why is that? Well, you have muscles that run along the length of the spine from the withers to the rim of the pelvis. And so maybe you can see him better. Yeah, you can see it better this way. So he's got muscles that start here called the longissimus, and they start at a point here, and then they start to fan. You can see he's a little sore there. See him moving away. They start to fan out, and then they attach to the rim of the pelvis back here. Right? So you got a big muscle, kind of a isosceles triangle, right? Going from here to here. And wow, I just went all the way back to like 7th grade geometry. Maybe I got that wrong. I don't know. But anyway, they have muscles that run from here all the way down. And if he's sore anywhere along this chain, it's going to cause the rest of the muscle to be tight. And there's 3 different groups of muscles that overlap here. So there's one section here, one section here, one section here. And if any of these are tight, it's going to cause tension on the other ones. So if he's tight here, the whole chain is going to be pulling the pelvis this way, which will prevent it from rising up and back, which is what it needs to do at the SI joints to bring that leg forward. So as his leg on this side comes forward, his hind leg comes forward, SI joint rotates up and back at the ilium side on this side of the SI joint, not at the sacral side. So the ilium and the sacrum come together. So here's the ilium, here's the sacrum. And when they're moving, they're doing this. So if I'm a horse and I'm bringing my leg forward, I get a rotation up and back at the ilium and down and forward at the sacrum. And I bring my leg behind, it does this. So I'm bringing my leg forward and back and forward and back. So this is called nutation of the sacrum. This is called counter nutation of the sacrum. So as I bring my leg forward, my ilium goes up and back. We call that a posterior inferior movement of the ilium on the sacrum. I know I'm kind of nerding out on you right now, but we're doing this at the ilium and this at the sacrum. So we're nutating the sacrum and we're going posterior inferior with the ilium, and that brings the leg forward. That's what's happening there. Boom, boom. And what pulls the ilium down and forward, right? If I'm bringing my leg behind, then my ilium's going down and the sacrum's counter-nutating. So we're doing this, right? So if I'm sore in my low back, which has to fire to pull that ilium down and forward, I'm not going to want to do it, right? Because when those muscles contract, it hurts. So you'll have a horse that's either short behind on the left, or it's going to be short coming forward into flexion on the right, because they're going to want to get out of extension on that hind leg that's hurting at the SI joint. And in order to do that, as they're coming forward with the right leg, they're going to have to put that foot down early so that they can start bringing the sore side forward. So it's a whole bunch of mechanics going on here at the same time. And also another thing that you know, puts a little more confusion into the movement of the sacrum and of the pelvis at the SI joints is, as one leg's going forward, right? As one leg's coming forward into flexion, the opposite side is going in extension. So as this side goes down and forward and the right leg goes back, the left side's coming up and back as the leg goes forward. So we have opposite things going on both sides of the sacrum. So pretend my sacrum is here. Here's my iliums. I'm doing this. One's doing flexion, one's doing extension, which causes problems, right? Because what happens if you go look at your horse one day and you go, oh my gosh, he's so high on the right side of his pelvis, right? And a lot of people say, oh, he's high on the hips. They're looking here and they're thinking that it's the hips. And they'll go, oh my gosh, he's so high on that hips. My horse's right hip is out. I need to get it adjusted. Well, remember, if that side is high, right, which means it's gone posterior inferior. So what you're seeing is this, and now it's high on that side. But as this is happening on the high side, this is happening on the low side. So who's to say that what's happening here and what's causing the high side isn't the opposite side going down, right? If this side goes down and gets restricted in that position, look what happens. The right side is high. Or what can happen is the right side can go this way, up and back, and now the right side is high, but the left side is neutral. So we got to figure out which side is the problem. And for me, I really don't care a whole lot, because what I want to do is clear out both sides. So if I have an SI joint, let's say SI joint on the right is stuck posterior inferior, meaning the right side is high, I'm going to adjust this side this way, and I'm going to adjust this side this way in the opposite direction, just to clear out both sides, just to make sure I'm not missing anything. And then you have compensations occurring in the shoulders, right? Because if this side's going into flexion, the shoulder is going to be also positioned like the shoulder starting to come forward as well. So you just have to think about all these things while you're working on horses. And it's one of the reasons why, if somebody's not a trained chiropractor and they haven't been through all the anatomy, neurology, physiology training, then they shouldn't be touching your horses. Because if you got an ilium that's like this, you know, let's say I got a high ilium on the right, a lot of people will just go, oh yeah, that's the right side. The right side's the problem. They're going to be jamming on that right side. But the problem could be this side, down and forward. This side could be perfectly neutral. But if you got a left side that's down and forward, you don't want to sit up here and jam the side that's already in the proper position. You want to come up here and bump the other side up, adjust the other side into a flex position. So a lot of stuff going on there. Thanks for hanging out while I was nerding out. But it's really important to understand the biomechanics of the pelvis, because if you don't understand that, you know, how can you possibly evaluate a horse properly and actually know where the problems are? Especially as a chiropractor, body worker, massage therapist, all this stuff is super, super important. Awesome. Yeah, exactly. You know, like you can get a massage and you can feel really good right afterwards. But then once your body recovers from that massage, if they work the wrong muscles, it's going to make it worse, because the body's like, I got to get these muscles back to where they were, right? Like the muscles recover from the massage, you get all that lactic acid out of there. And once they recover, they're going to want to go right back to where they were before, unless you correct the structure. And obviously, if you don't work the right muscles, that's going to be a big problem too. So yeah, for sure. And some people go, oh, this muscle is so tight, and they're going to like jam the elbow in there. Yeah, it's tight because it's trying to do a job, right? It's trying, most of your postural muscles, all they do all day long is try to figure out, do they need to contract or relax to hold your body and to hold your posture in a certain position? And if you're working on a muscle that's tight because it's working, and not a muscle that's tight because it's in spasm, once you get that working muscle relaxed, you just did a disservice to the client, right? You did a disservice to the patient, because that muscle is trying to do a job. What the job of a body worker, massage therapist, chiropractor is to figure out, okay, why is this muscle working when it's not supposed to be? What's it trying to do? And as a chiropractor, I'm trying to figure out, what is that muscle trying to move? What's its job? If I can help that muscle do its job by getting that joint nice and loosened up and getting it unstuck, now that muscle can relax because it's no longer trying to do a job. versus if the muscle is stuck in spasm, that's where the massage therapist come in, right? The muscle is stuck in spasm. The massage therapist's job is to try to loosen that muscle up and get it unstuck, right? Get that spasm to go away, because as the muscle's spasming, it's still controlling whatever it's attached to, and that can cause problems with movement. It can cause pain, all that type of stuff. So a good massage therapist, a good chiropractor, especially on these guys, needs to be able to tell the difference between a muscle that's working and a muscle that's stuck in spasm, so that they're working on the right thing and doing the right thing for the horse or the person. So that's what I'm doing. That's my whole focus, working on horses. Is I'm not trying to get a pop. Pops are like secondary. What I'm trying to do is get the structures to loosen up so they move better. And if the reason that the muscle is working when it's not supposed to be is because that joint is out of position, what we call a subluxation, and it can't move properly in the joint, like the shoulder joint, for instance, the glenohumeral joint, maybe that thing is stuck posterior. Maybe the humeral head is stuck anterior, which is more common in horses. And maybe the muscles back here are trying to pull that shoulder back, trying to pull the humeral head back into the glenohumeral joint. And until I get that shoulder released and loosened up, those muscles are going to keep working until that shoulder is back where it's supposed to be. And that's my job as a chiropractor: determine what muscles are working when they shouldn't be, get that joint released so that those muscles can relax. We'll get all that lactic acid out of there. They can move around a lot better. That inflammation is gone, and you just have a much better working horse, and a horse that feels much better. And the same thing goes for people. Thank you, Danielle. I appreciate it. I love to teach, I think it's one thing that's super neglected, especially in the animal world, but it's very neglected in the human world as well. That's why, human chiropractors, we have such a bad reputation, because everybody gets the bad side, right? Everybody hears the bad side from the AMA and all the garbage that's passed down from medical doctors to their clients. Oh, don't get adjusted. Orthopedists, oh, don't get adjusted. They don't want you to get adjusted, because if you get adjusted and you get better, then you don't need the medications and the surgeries that they offer. That's just the bottom line. So as chiropractors, we need to do a better job at educating the public so that when they hear stuff like that, they know that it's nonsense, right? I mean, you can see this movement away from pharmaceuticals, away from drugs, away from vaccines and all that stuff, and more towards natural health care and wellness care. That's where we're headed, because that's what works. Okay, off the soapbox. Let's get busy on Bucky. But thank you guys. I appreciate it. And thank you for all the likes. I appreciate those coming in as well. I have a question for you guys, and this is just because I'm naive when it comes to doing some of these lives. Is there a button on the bottom that says like super chat, or like a little green thing with a $sign? I can't see that on my screen. And I'm just wondering if that's actually there, or if you don't see that. Because I know that I have that enabled, or I was offered that to be enabled through YouTube. Okay, cool. Thanks, Serial Killer. I appreciate it. Awesome. And I'm not asking for you guys to hit that or anything. I just really just want to know if it's there, because I can't see what you see on my side. Awesome. All right. So static palpation with him pretty square. His SI joints feel pretty good. I don't feel any pain going through there, so that's good. So most of that is just right through. Look at that. That is just super, super sensitive. So when I have a horse with painful low backs, right, what I will often find is that their hamstrings are very, very loose. And why is that? It's because the hamstrings, when they tighten up, they pull the pelvis down, right? They pull the pelvis down, and they attach to something called the ischial tuberosity. And as they pull down on the ischial tuberosity, it pulls the ilium up and back, pulls the ilium into a flex position. So if these guys are tight, right? These guys are tight and spastic. These guys do the opposite job of the hamstring. So you're going to get some tight low back muscles. If you have tight low back muscles, the opposite muscles, so the muscles are called the antagonists. So the muscles that do the opposite job of the low back are going to be relaxed, because you can't contract agonist and antagonist at the same time. And a good way to explain that is, if I want to do a bicep curl, right? I want to do this. In order for me to do this, my triceps have to relax, right? Because the triceps do the opposite job. if they were both contracting and if they were both tight, my arm would just be stuck here, even though I'm trying to do a bicep curl. So the antagonist of the bicep is the tricep. So if I want to do this, the agonist is the bicep, the antagonist is the tricep, right? The same thing, if I want to do a forearm extension, my triceps do that work, so the biceps have to relax. You can't have a spasm here and a spasm here, right? You can't have working muscles here and working muscles there. It doesn't work. The body wouldn't move. So you can use that information and use the neurology to figure out how you can help the horse, right? Because if I have muscles that are tight, like his low back muscles are tight, and the low back pulls the pelvis down and forward like he's extending the hind legs. So in order to get those muscles to work, to relax, which are doing this, I have to contract these and make him do that. Because if I can get him to contract the abdominals, and he's got a sore low back, in order for him to contract the abdominals, the low back has to do what? It has to relax. So I can do a pressure point, which will cause the abdominals to contract, which will neurologically turn off these tight low back muscles and really get him to stretch it out. And if I can get him to stretch out far enough and I can get that low back, that lumbar spine to release, then when these relax, now his back muscles are relaxed as well, because they're not trying to do a job. Unless it's a saddle fit, right? If it's a saddle fit problem, then we have a whole different issue to deal with. But structurally and for movement purposes, that's what we're dealing with here. That's why the pressure points are so important, because those pressure points get those muscles to engage, which means the antagonists, right, the muscles that do the opposite job, have to disengage, they have to relax. So we can use that to our advantage to help tight muscles by, if he's got a sore low back, we contract the core, right? If he's got a sore core, we contract the low back and we get this to stretch. So you can kind of play with that, like just look at your horse and see, okay, he's tight here, so what muscles do I need to contract or stretch to get the result that I want? And that's all I teach. I teach all of that in my equine stretching course. I'm not trying to plug this here, but if you guys want to learn more about this stuff and really learn how to stretch your horses and how to make them feel better and how to check them for proper motion, the link's in my description. It'll take you to my equine stretching masterclass. I also have a book that I just finished writing that's going to be available probably tomorrow or the next day on my website. But my website's sporthorsechiropractic.com. So yeah, it is yin and yang. Absolutely. It's so simple, but it's not known. You know, people just don't know this stuff. They don't understand this stuff. So I just like to explain it, and you guys know more about your horses and allows you to help them a lot better. Cindy's in the house. What's up, Cindy? Oh, thank you, Blue Gruel. I appreciate it. Yeah, Bucky. Bucky is gonna. He's been standing here the whole time. I mean, I really haven't even been holding the lead rope or his halter at all. I just ruined his zen because I'm trying to get this goop out of his eye. That's like my one, not my one, but it's one of my OCD things when I'm working on these guys. Is like, man, I know when I have like a crusty eye booger, I don't know what you guys call them, I get it out of there, I'm just like, oh, it's like I'm a freaking new man when I get those out of there. So for them, I'm like, gosh, that has to be annoying, you know? Got to get that out of there. Incredible. No, I am not a farrier. I'm a chiropractor. Yeah, Amazon for sure. Amazon's kind of like it's not my primary option for you guys to get the book. Just to be honest with you, like Amazon just rakes you over the coals with what they charge to sell the book. So like my book is $39.95. If I sell it on Amazon, I get $13. Amazon takes the rest. It's insane. It's insane. So I would prefer to sell the book on the website, which it is available. I can't remember if it is available there or not yet, but the horse stretching book website is horsestretches.com. We're having a little bit of an issue with the mobile version because it's just the layout is not working properly because WordPress did an update and it's kind of screwed up some things. So we're working on that. But on desktop, that website works just fine. Yeah, eye boogers. Yeah, they take 70% of the cut. 70% Amazon takes from booksellers, unless your book is less than $9.99. If it's less than $9.99, then they take, I think then it flips. I think then the seller gets 70 and Amazon gets 30. But I mean, how many books have you seen, unless they're audiobooks, go for $9.99? So, and on a book like mine, where it's a step-by-step, it's a learning manual, it's very difficult to sell it for $10. So, yeah, I know, Serial, it's freaking crazy. It is crazy. All right, let's get to work. All right, so he's a little ribby too, but not bad. Overall, he's in good shape, and he's allowed to be ribby. He's 24 years old. I'm going to move this back here a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit some pelvic flexion pressure points here just to get him, excuse me, just to get him to raise his back up and try to get these muscles to relax. And after my long-winded soapbox of an explanation, you'll know why I'm going to do this. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of pressure back here. You can see his back coming up, 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 up. Good boy. And you can imagine how good this feels. Oh, there's a nice little release there. To a horse that has a tight low back, that's used to people sitting on him and pushing his back down into extension, that flexion stretch just gets those low back muscles to, what did I just say? Gets those low back muscles to relax, gets him more comfortable. And if you go nice and slow with this one, they're just like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Remember, he's a new horse for me, so I've never done this with him, and he's never been adjusted. So for him to stand that quiet was really awesome. And again, when you do this with new horses, you just want to go nice and slow. You know, you don't want to like dig in there because these can be really sensitive. So you just want to use nice, easy pressure just like this. And you can see back comes up, head goes down a little bit. And I got the top line nice and flat. I want to get it a little convex. So I just want to see those vertebrae just start to be popping out of the back, which they are right there. And then I can just hold that stretch. Good boy. You can walk with him. Good boy. That's really good. Good boy. The last thing I want to do for him, or any horse that has a sore low back, is to hit the pelvic extension pressure points. And those are right here. If I were to hit these, that's going to drop that pelvis down and forward, which is going to contract the sore muscles, which is opposite of what we want to do. On a horse with a sore back, sore low back especially, we want to bring that back up and stretch all of these muscles. Try to get that back from this to this. Now we got that nice little rainbow. Those muscles are getting a nice little stretch, taking that pressure off, and it does a lot of good, a lot of good. And the other one that we can do to help get that back stretched and relaxed is to hit a pressure point up along the sternum, sternal pressure point for flexion of the withers. So you can watch, I just put my hand on the halter, just obviously for my safety in case I hit a pressure point on the sternum that they're really sensitive to, which a lot of mares can be sensitive at the sternum. So if you push here, they can come around and bite you. I mean, the geldings can too, but it's more common with the mares. So I just put my hand there just so I have some control if they decide to bring the head around. And also I just kind of rest my arm there. And that gives them a little bit of a cue to lower their head, but I'm not pulling and I'm not yanking. I'm just resting my arm there. So I'm going to hit the sternal pressure point. You're going to watch his back come up and his head go down. Watch. Head drops a little bit, not a lot. Good. And when I let it go, head comes back up, back goes back down, just like that. And this is, along with checking for comfort and flexion here, you're also verifying that there's no ulcers, because if you hit that spot and they've got ulcers, they're going to get really, really pissy. So that's another thing while you do that, just kind of be aware that they could come around if they're hurting, if they've got ulcers, and just kind of keep yourself in a safe spot. And one way to do that is to keep hold of that halter. Cereal, I mean, you do have a point. You know, I would love to sell it, but at the same time, you know, people pay, like, how much money do you guys pay for massage therapists and PMF people and all these people, chiropractors, you know, to come out and work on your horses? And nobody thinks, you know what, in order to help my horse, I can actually stretch my horse. Like, I can help my horse myself with my own two hands by doing some GTO work, by doing some light massage, by doing some nice stretches, you know? So the book is great. Like, I made the book because I just wanted to give people a tool that they can use to try to help their own horses instead of spending, you know, hundreds of dollars unnecessarily when you can do a lot of good yourself. So yeah, buy it. Okay. Jeez. All right, let's get him to come around. I just want to see if he'll come touch his shoulder where I'm applying this pressure. And again, he's new, so everything is deliberate and slow. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. There you go. And if you're doing these pressure points on your horses and they do come around and touch, as soon as they touch, you want to let go of that pressure, right? Because you want to cue that pressure and release system, that reward system. So if they do something that you want, you got to release that pressure so they know, okay, I did something good there. Let them lick and chew, let them roll their eyes, let them yawn, let them head shake. All of those things indicate that they're storing that into their long-term memory bank, right? If you don't give them time to release and integrate that and shake their head and lick their lips and all that stuff, then they will not remember what you did. They need time to integrate that into their long-term memory. So the licking and chewing, the head shaking, the head dropping, the yawning, the eye twitching, all that stuff is very, very good for that. Hello from Moscow. That's awesome. Thank you for watching. Yeah, the book has its own website. It's just called horsestretches.com, because I'm very, very original and I'm just the most creative person on the planet. So horsestretches.com, just kidding. It's for search engine optimization. Those are some really good keywords. So if someone goes online and they look up horse stretches, hopefully horsestretches.com will pop right up there, you know. It's a different website than the site that you want, Cindy, okay? It's not on that one. Wait, there isn't one. There isn't one of those, is what I meant. Finland, holy moly. Awesome. Sini, is that how you say it? I don't know how to say the person's name from Russia. I don't even know what that means, so I'm not even gonna try, but Sini, or Sini? All right, so let's see how he is to the left compared to the right. Good boy. All right. Oh, that was a nice release there in the neck. Could you guys hear that? I'm not sure if you guys could hear that or not. It was kind of subtle, but really nice release in the lower neck. Blue Gorilla, my website is Sport Horse Chiropractic, and there will be a link directly to the book on my website. So yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. So eventually I have my equine stretching masterclass on my website on Sport Horse Chiropractic, but eventually I'll have a website for that, a website for the book, and my Sport Horse Chiropractic website, and then everything will be linking back and forth to each other. Well, right now it's an ebook. If you do want a hard copy, I can definitely do that and get some signed, but you know, that means there's printing costs, so the book's gonna be a little bit more expensive. But if that's what you guys want, you know, I'm happy to do that for sure. Whoa, Cindy. Oh my gosh. Looks like Cindy's been reading too much 50 Shades of Grey. Cindy, you are inappropriate. You're gonna get banned, Cindy. That's it, I've had enough. All right, so we're gonna check the pull on him. Kind of interested to see how he feels here. So you can see that little bit of a tendency for him to do this, right? To move away from this side, his left side. Watch, if I do the same pressure on both sides, he wants to turn his head that way, right? Away from this side pressure. Most of the time when I have tenderness at the pole, especially right behind the ears right there, that's telling me that they've got something going on with the hyoid. Oh, we're just going crazy over here. It was an accident, Cindy. So I usually find that if they're sensitive here, they're gonna be sensitive under here. So what I'm gonna do is just apply a little bit of pressure around the hyoid and just see how he reacts there. You can see he's kind of going away from that, right? That's kind of ouchy. And that's pretty much what you find the vast majority of the time. If they're sore at the pole, you're gonna find soreness at the hyoid. So I'm gonna check this side too and just see if there's one side that's more sore than the other. Oh, that's a good boy. So there's really nothing here. He's kind of acting like he likes that, right? Like there's no tendency to pull away from me there. But again, when I go over here, now we got that ouch pain response. So I'm gonna get that side of his hyoid to release by doing a little work with the tongue. Uh-oh. I have a feeling, Gene. Uh-oh. Yeah, Gene, it's all good. We're all friends here. She's not being nasty. Cindy's one of my faves. It's all in good fun. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna take his tongue out towards me. Just try not to get bit, scoop the tongue out. I'm just gonna hold it out here at about a 45-degree angle. So I'm kind of holding it out like I'm bringing tension this way, right? Like 45 degrees off of the face. And I'm just gonna let him pull, contract those muscles at the hyoid and relax. So the muscles that control the movement of the tongue, they attach to the hyoid bone. So the way I'm gonna get these to release over here up on this side is to take the tongue out here. So these muscles try to pull the tongue back into the mouth. And all I'm doing is applying a little bit of resistance to him pulling the tongue. I'm not pulling the tongue out of the mouth. I'm just holding it here. And as he pulls, I'm gonna give him a little resistance so he has to work to pull that tongue in. Right there, as he pulls harder, I'm gonna hold it a little bit more stiff out to the side. And I'm just gonna let him work that for a good 20, 25 seconds. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll pull, you know, they'll contract and relax, the tongue will go in, it'll come out. And then when those muscles finally relax completely, they'll just go, and they'll let that tongue just hang out of the mouth without trying to pull it back in. Good boy. Otherwise, what'll happen is as they pull and as they relax, the tongue will start to come out farther and farther and farther and farther. That's a good boy. So I'm just letting him exercise those muscles. Contract and relax, contract and relax. And what that does is it creates a little pumping motion, right? So they'll squeeze and relax and squeeze and relax and squeeze and relax. And what that's doing is it's pumping out old nutrients and it's bringing in new nutrients. It's pumping out that lactic acid, right? So that's what we want to do is try to get that lactic acid out of there, get some fresh nutrients into that area, and those muscles will relax. So again, you got to give them a little bit to integrate that, let them lick and chew, let that head come down. There's the yawn. Let them do all of that stuff. There we go, before we go recheck. And a lot of people will say, don't do that, don't pull the tongue. You should tell people not to do this. You know, they're afraid that you can damage the hyoid, fracture the hyoid. But any study that you read about hyoid fractures state that the risk is very, very, very minimal. You're worrying about something that you shouldn't be worrying about. And if you don't do this and your horse has a sore hyoid, then you're missing out on an opportunity to help them heal and help them feel so much better. So to me, you know, as long as you don't yank, as long as you don't pull the tongue, you know, you just hold it. And I hold it like this. I hold the tongue here. Oh boy, sorry, Cindy. I shouldn't have done that. But if you hold the tongue like this, like the okay sign, when they need to pull away, they can pull away and that tongue will slip out of your hand without causing excess traction on the tongue, which is one thing that's considered a risk of hyoid fracture, is excess traction of the tongue. I'm sorry, Cindy. I just wasn't paying attention. So you can see all these yawns and licks and chews and everything. It's important to let them do all of that before you go on to the next thing or to recheck. I don't know, Cindy. I'm gonna have to give you a 24-hour timeout. You've just gone too far. Yeah, you gotta let them finish. I mean, that would just be really selfish if I didn't let him finish. What? God. Good boy. All right, so let's recheck. Let's recheck the hyoid on this side, see what we get. Now remember, when you go back to recheck a horse, initially you're gonna expect the reaction to be ouch, 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 right? Because they're used to that area hurting. So when you go to put pressure on there, their initial response is gonna be this. But stick with it, because if you stick with it, it gives them the opportunity to go, oh, that doesn't hurt anymore, right? They get to realize that the pain is not there anymore, and they'll start to push into your pressure. They'll start to go, and they'll start to enjoy that. And that tells the brain, hey, this is better. This is feeling better now. So you can use this part of the body much better now because it's not sore. So let's go back in here and let's recheck. And you can see with him, he didn't even have that reaction, right? No tossing of the head. And that's completely gone. That is completely gone. So that's what you miss out on if you're scared to take the tongue out. You miss out on the ability to really, really help your horses and take away this hyoid pain. So that's why I do it. It's the proof is in the pudding right there. And it's so simple. That's awesome. Look how relaxed he is. It's beautiful. All right, so let's check him in extension. Just gonna bring his head up, 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 up. That's a good boy. That's so good. That's so good, buddy. That's really good. Again, new horse, never been adjusted. Super, super cool guy. Oh, that's a good boy. Yeah, I love to see the eye watering. Eye watering is a good sign of release. Same as the nose running, you'll get them. They'll just start dripping out of their nose. All really good signs. All right, let's bring him down towards his chest. Just see how he's moving at his pull and flexion. Oh, that's tight. Ugh. That's really tight. So let's just tap him down. Good boy. Good boy. Easy, see him pulling away. Oh, there we go. Good boy. There we go. Okay, don't get fooled by all the licks and chews. Okay, they happen for different reasons. It's a good sign there. What happens is when a horse is in a fight or flight state, right? It's in a sympathetic state. It's getting ready to either fight or run. And in the case of a horse, it's going to run way before it's going to choose to fight. So if he's getting ready to run away because he's in that fight or flight mode, all of the blood goes from the digestive tract to the skeletal muscles. All the muscles that are going to help him escape are going to get engorged with blood, and everything else is going to become secondary, right? The blood's going to be taken away from the non-essential functions, and it's going to be moved into the skeletal muscles where it can use all those nutrients, all that oxygen to run away from danger. If they're in a parasympathetic state, meaning they're in a resting, digesting state, the opposite's going to happen. The blood's going to go out of the skeletal muscle and into the internal organs so they can digest their food, so they can heal and all those types of things. They're going to do things in the parasympathetic state that they would do when they're resting. So they would eat, they're going to pee, they're going to poop, they're going to sleep. Their head's going to drop. They're going to take big, deep breaths. Their head's going to be below the withers. You know, perspiration happens in parasympathetic state. But they're going to do all the things they would do if they were relaxing and digesting. So sleeping and eating and pooping and all that stuff. If I have a horse here who's nice and relaxed, right? He's letting me stretch his head down here. He's in that nice parasympathetic resting and digesting state. And I do an adjustment that's quick. It's going to startle him. And all of a sudden, you're going to see him pull up. His eyes are going to get wide. His ears are going to go up. His nostrils might flare. He might get a little spooky, a little startled. That pushes him from the parasympathetic resting and digesting state into the fight or flight state, into the sympathetic state. So what's going to happen? Momentarily, digestion is going to stop. Blood's going to go out to the extremities. He's like, oh my God, what do I need to do? And then once he realizes that danger or that whatever caused that scare, right? Me doing that adjustment, that impulse is gone. Then he'll go back down to the parasympathetic state. What does that mean? That means the blood's going to come back into the internal organs. The things that he's going to do in a parasympathetic state are going to start to happen again. So he's going to start to secrete more saliva, right? And when they secrete more saliva, they do that in the parasympathetic state because they're getting ready to eat. So if he's secreting that saliva and he's not eating, he's going to have to lick and chew. He's going to start to lick and chew and swallow to get rid of that saliva. So you'll get the licking and chewing response. So when somebody does something to a horse, or they're standing there enjoying something and they're licking and chewing, that's great because you're putting that horse into a parasympathetic resting and digesting state, which is great for a prey animal who's always on the verge of, Okay, I got to run. Okay, I got to run. Okay, I got to run. You're getting them to relax, which is very, very good for their bodies, very, very good for their overall health. But it doesn't mean that you're fixing anything. It just means that you're either taking them from that sympathetic fight or flight state down into the parasympathetic, so they have that change of the autonomic nervous system. They have that change from the fight or flight to the rest and digest. And so they're going to start doing things like secreting saliva, which is going to get them to lick and chew. Or you can take a horse from a parasympathetic state and bring him more parasympathetic. So you're going to get an even bigger increase in that salivary response and stuff like that. So those are the changes that you're going to see, which is why the lick and chew isn't the biggest indicator for me. Like, yeah, it means that they're feeling good and what you're doing is feeling good, but it doesn't mean that you're fixing anything. It just means that there's a transition going on between the nervous system from a sympathetic fight or flight state into the parasympathetic, or they're in a parasympathetic state and they're getting more relaxed and they're going more into that rest and digest. So I hope all that helps. And again, this is my opinion, just knowing the physiology and knowing how the nervous system works, but it just makes sense. Like everything I do from a big picture standpoint, from a top-down perspective. I'm not looking at the little things and making a big assumption about the big, right? About the global effects. I'm looking at the big picture and then making assumptions about what's going on underneath. So well, I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense about the nervous system a little bit. Thanks, Blue Gorilla. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah, that was, man, I just get on these tangents and then I can't stop. So hopefully you guys like that stuff. I think this is the first time I've had a live on YouTube where I have more likes than viewers. I think so, right, Cindy? So I thank you guys. That's just awesome. Really helps. It really helps out when you guys hit that like button. So thank you. All right, so I'm gonna check his legs. Cindy's checking out my upper legs. I can feel it. I'm sorry. Ooh, that was a nice release in that knee there. Oh, good boy. This guy's doing so good for his first one. Really. He's acting like he's done this 100 times before. Good boy. Look at him. He's bringing that leg out, but you can tell he's not quite sure what's happening because he's holding a little tension in the shoulder and he's kind of trembling back here behind the leg. Good boy. Good boy. So what I'm doing is I'm just holding what I've got, letting him lean into that. Good boy. He's really stretching that one out. You can see he's completely dropped into extension at the knee. Yep, you can feel that tension when you're stretching. And what they'll do is they'll either pull away like that eventually, or they'll relax all the muscles, and then all of a sudden it's like, ugh, they just drop all that weight into you. So you got to be prepared for either one of those. Oh, Emma Long, you naughty. Oh my gosh. Cindy, you're crazy. All right, here we go. So again, I got to do this again on him because he was not fully relaxing into that stretch, and I want him to kind of figure this out, right? So I want to fully extend the leg, and now he's completely relaxed. Like he's not going anywhere. This is nice and relaxed. Please don't pull back. Please don't make me look like an idiot. Yeah, that's perfect. I'm gonna fully extend him. He's chilling out right here. That's beautiful. Good, good boy. And then we'll go back. So you just gotta give them a chance to, figure things out. They will figure it out most of the time if you just give them that time to do so. Good boy. But guess what? If I was extending that leg and he pulled back and then I punished him for pulling back, that's not going to help him to relax out into the stretch next time. He's going to be like, shit, the next time I stretch my leg out like that, I'm going to get smacked, right? So let them pull away, let them have that tension, let them figure it out, bring them back out front, do it again. And when they do what they're supposed to do, then just give the leg back so he can have that little release. And then you'll get that dopamine circuit flowing. They'll get that reward circuit going. It'll go into the long-term memory. Next time you come out, you do it again, and they're gonna remember, oh, I did good last time. I stretched the leg, pressure was taken off, it felt good. I got that little hit of dopamine, I got that little reward, so I know what to do the next time, all right? So give your horses the benefit of the doubt, give them the time they need to integrate that. Ooh, he has some old injury down here. Oh boy. Gosh, looks like he got caught up in some barbed wire or some fencing or something. That's a lot tighter on this side. So I'm going to adjust this a little bit, but I'm trying not to engage the fetlock too much. Oh, there we go. Good boy. That was really nice release in the knee there. And again, this is not a knee. This is not a knee. I know I'm saying knee because that's what people understand this joint to be. We call that a knee, but it's not a knee at all. Anybody remember? I mean, anybody. I think Cindy might be the only one that's been in my channel for a long period of time. Oh, that's a good stretch. Woohoo! There you go. Good boy. Come on. Right? So that's what I'm saying. They're either going to, when they get tense like that, they're either going to pull it away or they're going to put all that weight on you at one time. So you just got to be ready for that. And again, give them a second, right? I don't want to just jump right back in and do it again. Come on, over. Good boy. Good boy. I want to give them that time to integrate, figure it out. You're stepping on the lead rope, dude. Come on. Boop, boop, boop. And then we'll go back and do it again. Good boy. So I know I have, here, I can show you guys that big scar he's got right behind his pastern. Watch this. Let me get his leg up. Look, oh. You can see he needs his, whoops, what happened? There we go. Hey guys, hold on one second. Lost the microphone connection. It's not wanting to cooperate at the moment. Let's see. There we go. All right, so when I bring the leg up, so number one, he needs his feet done. You can see how smashed he is here and not over there. So he's really landing a lot on that inside of the right front. But look at that scar right there. That is hard old stuff right there. So at some point he got himself tangled up in something. Nothing else around here, but that's pretty significant. So that'll obviously affect the way that lower leg is moving, which is probably why we got that big reaction when I brought that leg out front just a second ago. Yeah, exactly, Angel Witch. Those are the risks for sure. I know, Louis Scar. Oh, buddy. So let's try that again. Let's bring him back out front here. Feels like he's got some scar tissue on his DFT as well. DFT is the digital flexor tendon. Whoa, good boy. So there you go. So now you can see the big difference, right? First time he pulled back right away. Now he's kind of going, all right, let's check this out, figure it out. Good boy. Good boy. But if I punished him for pulling away from me, he wouldn't be doing this, right? He would just be like, he'd be a little nervous. He'd be like, oh my God, not fully relaxing the leg. But that's what I want to see right there. Good boy. That's really good. But definitely needs his feet done. Farrier's here, so I'm assuming he's going to be getting his feet done today. See the farrier. That's his trailer right out there, the blue. All right, and then of course I got to check the back legs. He's like, dude, you have to do more than that to get me to move. Come on. Good boy. That's a good boy. Good boy. All right, let's get this one done over here. Where did I go to school? So I went to school at the Los Angeles College of Chiropractic, and then I went and got my animal chiropractic certification at Options for Animals in Kansas City. You can't go to get a chiropractic certification unless you're a licensed veterinarian or a licensed human chiropractor. So that's the route that I took. I wasn't planning on being a horse chiropractor, but here we are. So we got that sore low back, right? So sore low back means we're going to be tight flexing. I can expect tightness and flexion. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just checking to see how those hocks feel. And you can see when I try to flex the leg, his butt goes that way. So he's going away from this pressure, and I don't even have the hocks fully engaged yet. So what I want to do is check both sides and see how he feels over here. Lift that foot right up for me. Super good boy. And then do the same thing. So with this one, you can see a big difference here, right? I got his fetlock. When I'm checking the hind legs in flexion like that, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get the fetlock above the hock without him going. So this is a hard one to explain. But let's say that this is the horse's fetlock, right? This is his hoof and this is his hock, right? My elbow is his hock. I'm trying to flex that back leg so I can get that fetlock above the hock without him rotating his lower back, without him rotating in the pelvis, without him doing this, right? Because if I'm rotating up and they get tight or sore, they're gonna wing that leg out to try to get away from this motion while still trying to bring the leg up while I'm asking. So you'll get this type of a motion, or the hock will just stop, and instead of getting this to come up higher, you'll get the whole system to rotate. So I'm trying to get this, I'm trying to get fetlock above the hock and the hind end, just to make sure that the movement of the hock and flexion is nice and normal. But if they do anything other than this, then I know I've got issues at the hock. So this side, I'll show you again one more time. So see if you guys can see this. When I flex this side, I bring this up. I got the hock almost, or the fetlock almost to the hock, but not above it. But as I try to bring it up, I'm not closing this gap here. This gap stays the same. So I know I'm not flexing the hock any farther. All I'm doing is I'm getting more rotation at the stifle and more rotation at the SI joint. So we got an issue there at the hock. Let me show you from this angle too, so you can see it a little bit better. Right? So good boy. I'm gonna bring this leg up and just watch the fetlock relative to the hock. Right? I bring this up. Oh, the hock just popped a little bit there, but he just moved a little bit, so it's harder for you guys to see. Let's get it at this angle here. There we go. All right, so watch fetlock compared to hock as I bring the leg up. All right, we're coming up. Let him relax, bring it up. Look at that, we got fetlock above the hock, right? You see that angle? And this distance closes the more I bring it up, right? If I'm here, oh, let him relax, I bring it up. This distance closes, we got fetlock above the hock. See that downward angle? That's what I want to see, right there. Now let's go to the other side and we can see the difference here. So watch this. Whoop. Might not be the best place to put the phone, and it's not. All right, hold on. There we go. So now we're looking at hock and fetlock, all right? Watch as I bring this leg up. It starts to tighten up right there, okay? I can't get it. Damn it, that view is not real good. Let's try this. Hold on, 1 second, guys. There we go, that's gonna be great. All right, we got a horse behind it playing with it. Hey, back. All right, so watch the angle between fetlock and hock, right? It's below. You see how it's below? It's not quite level. If I try to bring it level, watch this gap. This gap doesn't change. You see that? But you see all this rotation happening here. We got a horse playing with the phone. Get back. All right, so I'm trying to bring it up, but all we get is we get this whole system back here and here moving, right? We don't get a change in this gap right there at all. So that's how I know I've got a hock issue, at least on the left side. So this horse will be a referral to the vet for further hock evaluation, maybe some x-rays and possible injection back there. Because if we have sore hocks, we're going to have a sore back, and we're never going to get the horse right until we get those hocks more comfortable. Thank you, serial killer. Appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. I'm just going through the comments here a little bit. Awesome. I think we're all caught up there. It's nice and relaxed. Seems like he's feeling pretty good. All right, so let's get his TMJs stretched out here. All right, this is one thing that I look at too on him. We can see a little bit of irritation on his gums. Watch. You can see his teeth. You can see all that redness there around his gums. And his teeth are kind of chipped away. They do look like they've been floated fairly recently. I don't love the float job on his teeth. It's not bad. I think you can get a little bit better dental. You see there's no contact between these two teeth here. Oh, there's no contact on these two teeth here when he closes his mouth. Right now he's kind of chomping on his tongue a little bit, but right there's a big gap right there. And we got a bunch of inflammation in his gums. Really, really bad on this side. You can see right here how red that is. So I would definitely, if he hasn't had his teeth done, I would definitely recommend this guy to get floated as well. Because if we got issues here, if we got issues in the teeth and we got pain in the gums, we're gonna have pain at the hyoid. If we have pain at the hyoid, we're gonna have pain at the pole. All of this stuff kind of snowballs into other problems going on as far back as the SI joint. So if you have pain at the pole, you're gonna have pain at the SI joints almost every time. It's one does not go without the other very often. All right, so let's get his TMJs nice and stretched out. Answer any last couple questions. Yeah, definitely some injection time. There we go. Oh, yeah, he has been absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. If you're watching my last live on TikTok, I just got done adjusting Gravy before I came and did Bucky, and Gravy is always perfect. So it's got a little challenger here. Oh, that's a good boy. Nice, comfortable stretch. Very, very good. Good boy. That's a good boy. Oh, he's a good boy. Oh, what a good boy. Yeah. That's why it's so ridiculous to me when people will make comments on my Instagram videos, especially on Instagram. It's kind of weird. I don't get the same comments on TikTok, but people say, oh, abuse, right? Abuse. Or what did the horses do for millions of years before chiropractors? It's like, well, they died. They got eaten. That's what they did before vets, before chiropractors. You know, if they were injured or they were sore or they were compensating, they became food. So now they live longer, healthier, happy lives. And, you know, if they're happy and feeling good, they'll show you that. So, which is very, very rewarding. Huh, buddy? That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Yeah, super good boy. So that's Bucky, guys. All right, I got to get rolling. I got to get to my next stop here. I'll answer some questions while I'm heading back to my truck. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I must have missed something. Let me go back here. Oh, yeah. So I think the question might have been answered, Cindy, but an equine dentist will typically do the floats, or a lot of vets will also do dentals. My personal opinion, you know, is that 99% of vets should not be floating teeth. They don't do a very good job. It should be done by a certified equine dentist. Sometimes the equine dentists are also veterinarians that have their dental certifications, but they just don't get enough training in it at vet school. And the teeth and the TMJs are so important that if you don't do a good job with the teeth, you are really screwing up the movement of that horse. So it's super, super important. So I always recommend a good equine dentist. And then if you need something else, like there's just something else going on that's more of a veterinary issue with the mouth, then, you know, I'll let the vets, you know, have the vets take care of that. But if it's just a float, find a really good certified equine dentist in your area. They're usually a lot less expensive than taking your horse to the vet for a float. And most of the time they do a lot better job. You know, I not to say anything bad about the vets, because of course, like, you know, we need the vets. Vets are amazing, but you know, they're amazing at doing what they do. They're amazing at doing vet work. So anytime I come across a horse and I see an issue that's not chiropractic, I'm referring them straight to the vet, you know? If it's a dental issue and I see that the teeth need to be floated, I'm going to refer them to the dentist. And then I work with dentists who, if they find something that's not a float issue, not a dental issue, but there's something else going on that needs to be taken care of by the vet, then they will refer to the vet. They won't try to do things that need to be done by a vet. I won't refer to dentists like that. So thank you, Emma Long, for the dental, holy crap, for the fly mask reminder. Almost left without putting his fly mask back on, and the flies love this guy. So let's get him taken care of. Oh, what a good boy. Oh, he's so good. Is that better, buddy? There you go. Woo. Let's see. All right, we got his pretty little flowery fly mask on. All right, this is Shiraz. She's not as sweet. She's a little red roan. She's nice, but she always has this look in her face like, I just need to take a little piece, just a little piece. All right, I got to get going, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. This was a long live. Got still more likes than we have viewers, so that's awesome. Really appreciate it. Oh, I'm like making you guys stare at the gravel. That was awesome camera work. But thank you, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I got 2 more horses to do, but I won't be going live, so I'm gonna head out there. And thank you guys again. Hope to see you on my next one. If you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button real fast. Would love to have you all as members of my channel. Again, trying to get to that 100,000 mark before the end of the year. So thank you, Serial Killer. Thank you again, as always, Cindy. Emma, I hope you have a great day. And I will see you guys on my next live. Thank you so much.